Hello and welcome to another episode of BlokeTalk. I'm Jawad, your host for today, and I'm so pleased to have another fantastic guest with me today. It's Ryan. I'm not going to reveal anything about him or his organisation. All I'm going to say, is that they do some fantastic work, and I'm literally going to sort of pass over and open the platform for Ryan to talk a little bit about himself, the organisation he represents, and then just open up a little bit in terms of his personal mental health story. So, without further ado, Ryan, who are you, and what's the fantastic work you're doing currently? Go ahead.
So I'm Ryan, as you said. I'm the co-founder of Autism Friends. It's a relatively new group in Blackburn with Darwin. I grew up in the borough, like I was born here, I was raised here. So I knew there was lack of support for autistic people in day-to-day life, and that's what Autism Friends is about. Just providing that support, whether it be with things they need help doing, or even if it's just needing a place to relax on a Thursday and just talking to people or sharing their interests. We do have some really great people that come, and sometimes they even bring food, so that's always good.
Is it an open invitation? Can I?
Yeah, anyone could come. We've got a counsellor coming soon, which should be interesting. She's coming to talk to people about what Blackburn with Darwin is doing, but also I'm encouraging people there to give feedback on what Blackburn and Darwin can do more of within the community. And I think Bloke Talk is important for this as well, because autistic people often do have a mental illness, and therefore often go through a lot of mental struggles in the day-to-day life. Like, I know I do. I've had loads of mental health breaks over the years, but it's about being open and honest with them and getting things to change for the better.
Brilliant. I mean, it sounds like you're doing some really awesome work. And is it just around the Blackburn with Darwin area, or are you kind of national or across the county?
For now, it's just in Blackburn with Darwin, because we did only start this year. But we are all hoping that as time goes on, we could start spreading out more across the county at first, and then
Fantastic.
hopefully the north, and then moving further down south.
That's brilliant. It's an absolute must. It's something which I think goes without saying. It's terrific work you guys are doing, and wish you all the best in that endeavour. And hopefully, anyone who's watching this, please do support this group, regardless of where you're based. Whatever you can do. I assume, have you got a web address or?
We don't. Yeah, we are still working on that.
Watch this space, and I'll hopefully update something in the comments as soon as we do get something. But so yeah, thank you for kind of introducing yourself and the kind of great work you're doing. Just in terms of and like I say to all our guests, don't necessarily go into anything too sensitive, or but from your kind of, and you touched upon it a bit earlier, but just based upon your kind of mental health journey, and it doesn't have to be every single aspect, but is there certain aspects of your journey that you're okay to talk about on this platform today? And just, it can be as much detail or little detail, but bear in mind just the sensitivities. Go ahead.
So, like, my mental health journey has been always not been great being autistic, but also because of like bullying in high school and all that. So I've been through like mental health services here. I've dealt with it on my own. So like, I know that things definitely need improving, and we definitely need more men talking about their mental health so we can get those improvements. I know myself, it was a long time before I was open about my mental health, but I found that once I was more open about it, that definitely helps. There's something about talking to people and knowing they went through similar struggles that helped me through mine and also helped them through theirs. Like, I was struggling with my mental health really badly from like when I was 12 till 18, so I know how difficult it can be, and I do still struggle, but I am in a much better place than where I was back then.
No, I mean it honestly it takes a lot of courage to kind of especially with stigma, especially at such a young age as well. You're expected you're not expected to talk or think about certain topics, especially if you're kind of male. And then just as you get older, especially when you get to my age, if it has been kind of put down a bit, and you have been bullied or you've gone through experiences, you do start to kind of suffer as you get older, because you've not necessarily dealt with that trauma. So really important subject, and I think you've touched on really good. So just in terms of you mentioned a little bit about you then started to learn about other people's experiences as well. So can you give sort of some examples around how they help you to sort of cope?
Well, I was speaking to a friend, obviously I won't name names, but I was speaking with a friend about it, and they gave me just some small advice on how they cope and some of the things they do when they're feeling at their lowest or having an intense feeling. And I found a lot of those worked for me as well, because they weren't like big things, they were just small things, like you can go for a walk, or even if it's just messing with your keys for an hour, like just do something to take your mind off those intense feelings, at least until you're in the right headspace to actually think through them. Because often when you have these intense emotions, they are coming from somewhere, but often they are not stuff that you should be having such an intense emotion about. And once you're able to think it through, you can realize, hey, it is a problem, but here's ways I can manage it.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, and just a couple of points that I'm kind of picking up from that is, one is, and this is one of the reasons why we're sort of doing BlokeTalk, is to make mental health relatable.
Yeah.
So it's not something that someone else has. I too have it, you have it, we all have certain instances of kind of mental health behaviour, and it's perfectly natural and normal to have it. And it definitely, certainly when I've, the previous guests and what you've spoke about, it's kind of made a lot of things quite relatable and normal, and that's the whole kind of point of BlokeTalk, is we want to sort of normalise the conversation around this. And the other point that you kind of talked about is quite interesting, because I've spoken to a therapist, and it's when you get kind of anxious, or when you get you basically go from rational to irrational.
Yeah.
So you start having irrational thoughts, and one of the things you said advised me was there's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, and I'm gonna get this wrong, so apologies, but can you see 5 different things and just whisper them to yourself? Can you then touch 4 things? Can you then listen to 3 different things? Can you then smell 2 things? Can you taste 1 thing? And what it's not even about kind of following the full process. What you're doing is you're going from the irrational to the rational, and that process of kind of doing it. So 100% agree. Just in terms of, I guess, kind of finishing off, is there any advice or tips you could provide for any other bloke or non-bloke, for that matter, it's not specific to men, we know that. But is there any kind of advice or tips you could offer someone who is feeling down, who maybe doesn't know where to turn, is feeling lonely, is in a dark place? What would be your kind of top 1-2 tips?
My advice would honestly be to talk to your mates about them, because one, you can find out if they're real mates, because 9 times out of 10, if your friend won't talk to you about them and mocks you, they were never a good friend and are probably the cause of some of your mental health issues. But a lot of true friends will talk you through them, and you'll find that you're not on your own, and that helps in a big way, because I think part of the issue which makes mental health so much worse is that, like, whenever it's talked about, it's always talked about like the big stuff, which obviously is important, but like, if we tackle the small stuff too, that will stop it from becoming the big stuff. And so, like, my advice would just be, speak to your friends, but also don't be afraid to tell people, like, hey, I just need some time alone, whether that be a couple hours or a week. Like, it's always important to get some time to yourself to manage your mental health, and often when you do that, you find you can understand your issues more, and maybe you can understand times you've overreacted or underreacted, and work on positive changes to deal with that, and also how to correctly deal with your mental health.
Brilliant. No, some fantastic words there, Ryan. Really appreciate that. So, I think the key kind of takeaway from this fantastic discussion with Ryan is, look, at the end of the day, it's perfectly normal to kind of go through certain scenarios, and if you're feeling low, again, that is a perfectly normal phenomenon. It's not specific to you, and the worst thing you can do is not talk to someone. There are people out there, and there's some fantastic charities and free phone numbers, Samaritans. There's another one that I've totally blanked out, but Shout, sorry. There's, again, I've done some kind of charity work for them as well. So, honestly, anonymously, just pick up the phone or speak to a friend. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and it will definitely help. I mean, how much better do you feel just talking about
a lot.
it just now?
And with a lot of these phone services, they also have a lot of online chat services too. So if you don't feel like you can physically talk to someone, you can type to them instead.
Absolutely. So, yeah, thank you very much, Ryan, and thank you everyone for sort of watching, and stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you very much.